Mia loved horror movies, but picking the right one was always a challenge. Some nights, she wanted something creepy and atmospheric, while other nights, she craved blood-soaked terror. Tonight, she decided to let fate choose. Then, a new sound. Tap, tap, tap. Something drummed against her laptop screen. Her eyes flickered open just enough to see. The screen had powered back on. The reflection of her apartment glowed in the dim light, but the figure was gone. No shadow, no grin. Had she imagined it? A notification popped up on her laptop. Would you like to recommend a horror movie? Her pulse slowed. Maybe this was all just a sick interactive prank, a haunted website messing with her mind. She exhaled a nervous laugh. Yeah, okay, you got me. She hovered over the yes button, clicking it. The screen refreshed instantly. Thank you, your horror movie recommendation has been added to the list. Her blood turned to ice. A new title appeared at the bottom of the page. 7. Feeling trapped in a never-ending nightmare? Watch Mia's last night. Her laptop camera's indicator light flickered on. The live feed returned, but now, she saw herself on the screen sitting right where she was, staring back. But in the reflection, she was smiling. And she wasn't smiling in real life. The reflection tilted its head. Then, it stood up. Mia couldn't move. She watched, helpless, as her reflection stepped out of the frame. Footsteps echoed behind her. The laptop screen flickered, the list refreshed, her shaky fingers unlocked it, the front camera flickered on. Behind her, in the reflection, stood a figure. No details, no features, just a dark, looming shape. The lights in her apartment dimmed, the list on her laptop refreshed again. 5. Want a horror movie that never ends? Keep watching. Mia's phone slipped from her hands, the whispers from earlier returned, now hissing from every corner of the room. The TV screen powered on by itself, displaying a live feed of her apartment, but in the footage, she wasn't alone. A shadow moved behind her. A grin, too wide, too sharp, spread across the screen. The last movie recommendation flashed in bold red text. 6. Ready for the final scene? Turn around. Mia squeezed her eyes shut, her heartbeat pounded in her ears. A breath, cold and slow, brushed against her neck. Then, the screen went black. Somewhere, a new list was loading. She pulled up a horror movie recommendation list she found online. The title read, Horror Movie Recommendations for Every Mood. 1. Feeling like a slow burn creepfest? Watch The Whispering House. Mia shrugged. Alright, let's start with this one. She hit play. The movie followed a woman alone in an old house where whispers echoed through the halls. As the tension built, the whispers in the movie grew louder until Mia heard them in her own apartment. She paused the movie. The whispers continued. 2. In the mood for paranormal terror? Try The Shadow's Grin. Mia switched to the next movie, trying to shake off her unease. This one featured a malevolent spirit haunting its victims through reflections. Halfway through, her screen flickered. A grin appeared in the darkness of her TV screen, too wide, too sharp. She turned off the screen, but the grin remained. 3. Craving a gory slasher? Blood Moon Camp delivers the chills. Heart pounding, she turned on the slasher movie. A group of teens was being stalked in the woods. The killer's knife gleamed under the moonlight. Suddenly, her kitchen knife drawer slid open on its own. Mia shut her laptop. That's enough. The list refreshed on its own. 4. Looking for found footage frights? Watch, they're already here. Mia's hands trembled. That wasn't on the list before. The movie description read, a girl watches horror movies alone, until she realizes she's not alone at all. A floorboard creaked behind her. She didn't turn around. Mia sat frozen. Her breath caught in her throat. She could feel it, the unmistakable sensation of being watched. Slowly, she reached for her phone, planning to use the screen as a mirror. Mia's body refused to move. Her limbs felt paralyzed, her breath shallow. The room was silent now, too silent. Mia's breath hitched. Her reflection had left the screen, but she was still sitting in her chair. The screen flickered again. His own terrified face stared back at him in the live feed. Behind him, the shadow loomed taller, darker, grinning. His mouse moved on its own. Would you like to share the list? 2 buttons. Yes, yes. No way to say no. Think. Mia had sent it to him. That meant she was still alive? He grabbed his phone, shaking hands trying to dial her number. No ring, just static, then, a whisper. It's too late. His laptop screen glitched, the shadow behind him moved closer, the air turned ice cold. Then, a single line of text replaced everything else. Break the chain. Nate's mind raced. Break the chain. He clicked the search bar and started typing. How to break a cursed horror list. Results flooded in urban legends, message board stories, conspiracy theories. One caught his eye. Do not share it. Instead, delete the list before it spreads. But there's a cost. The cost? He didn't have time to read further. The lights flickered violently. His reflection in the laptop screen wasn't copying him anymore. It was grinning. Nate slammed the laptop shut. Darkness swallowed the room. He reached under his desk, yanked out the power cord. His laptop screen blinked once, twice, then died. The air felt lighter. Had it worked? He stood, heart racing, sweat dripping down his back. He grabbed his phone. His messages with Mia were gone. His laptop, when he reopened it, was wiped clean. No horror list, no messages. For the first time in minutes, he exhaled. Maybe it was over. Maybe he had won. But somewhere, deep in the shadows of an unseen server, the list refreshed. It was patient. It would wait. For you. Somewhere, miles away, Nate's phone vibrated. He groggily reached for it, rubbing sleep from his eyes. A message from Mia? Hey, check this out. Some horror recommendations for different moods. Attached was a link. Nate smirked. Classic Mia, always sending creepy stuff. He tapped the link without thinking. The page loaded instantly. Horror movie recommendations for every mood. He scrolled down. Titles, descriptions, nothing seemed unusual. But then, at the bottom, a new listing caught his eye. 8. Looking for a horror experience that feels personal? Watch Nate's First Night. His smirk faded. A chill ran down his spine. His laptop screen powered on by itself. The camera light blinked. A new message appeared in the chat from Mia. Only, it wasn't Mia's usual way of texting. Watch with me. The cursor moved on its own. A video link appeared. Play. Nate swallowed hard. His hands were suddenly cold. This is just a joke, right? The video auto-started. The screen was dark at first. Then, a live feed of his own room appeared, his bed, his desk, his laptop. And behind him, a shape moved. A grin, too wide, too sharp. The power cut out. The screen refreshed one final time. 9. The curse spreads. Who's next? The list never ended. It was waiting for you. That wasn't possible. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming from behind her. She wanted to run, wanted to turn, fight, something, but terror held her in place, her fingers gripping the desk so tightly her knuckles went white. The laptop screen flickered again. The cursor moved on its own, highlighting the last entry. 7. Feeling trapped in a never-ending nightmare? Watch Mia's Last Night. The title changed before her eyes. 8. Ready to pass it on? Share the list. Her laptop's camera light glowed brighter. The screen refreshed once more. A new prompt appeared. Invite someone to watch with you. Below it, a search bar. Her contacts appeared. Tears welled in Mia's eyes. The thing behind her was closer now. She could feel it, smell it. Something rotten, something wrong. She had to choose. She had to send the list to someone else. The cursor hovered over a name. Her best friend, Nate. No, I can't do that to him. The breath on her neck was colder now. The shadow loomed in her periphery. Her screen glitched again. New text appeared. You don't have a choice. The footsteps stopped. Something pressed a hand onto her shoulder. Mia screamed. The screen went dark. And the horror list waited, searching for the next name. Yours. The screen flickered. The list refreshed. Nate's heart pounded. His breath came in sharp gasps. Days passed. Then weeks. Nate tried to forget. He convinced himself it was just a trick of the mind, some elaborate digital hoax, maybe even a virus that mimicked supernatural horror. His body was frozen. His breath shallow. The closet door creaked open just an inch more. Then, his phone vibrated again. A new message. Not from Mia. From an unknown number. Don't look, don't move, type exactly what I say. His fingers trembled as he responded. Who is this? Immediately, another reply. The last person who tried to stop it. Nate swallowed hard, the shadow in the closet shifted, his laptop screen glowed brighter, the list was still there, the cursor waiting over, play. Another message. Erase your name from the list. Nate's eyes darted to the screen, his name was still there. Nate's last night, the text pulsed, almost like it was breathing. His hands hovered over the keyboard. Hurry! Fingers shaking, he clicked the title. The text box opened. Blinking, he hit backspace, but the letters reappeared, letter by letter, faster than he could delete them. From the closet, something let out a slow, rattling breath. It knows. His vision blurred, panic clawed at his throat. Then, a final message. There's only one way, pass it to someone who won't watch. Nate's pulse pounded in his ears. He had to send the list to someone. Someone who wouldn't open it. Wouldn't read it. Wouldn't be trapped like him. His mind raced. Who could he trust? Then, he knew. He scrolled through his contacts, found a name, and hit send. Seconds later, the air in the room changed, the presence in the closet faded, the cursor on the screen stopped moving. And then, the list disappeared. For the first time in weeks, Nate could breathe. His phone buzzed one last time. Smart choice, but next time, don't click strange links. The number disappeared, no trace, no history. Nate powered off his laptop, then his phone. He wasn't taking any chances. And somewhere, across town, someone's phone buzzed with a new message. Hey, check this out, some horror recommendations for different moods. Would they open it? Or would the list finally die? That's what he told himself. Until Mia's name popped up on his phone again. A text. Did you really think deleting it would stop anything? Nate's stomach dropped, his hands trembled as he typed back. Mia, are you okay? Where have you been? 3 dots appeared, typing. Then, I never left. Attached was an image. He hesitated, then tapped it open. It was a photo of his bedroom. Taken right now. The perspective was from inside his closet. His breath hitched, his gaze snapped toward the closet door. Slightly ajar. A whisper slithered through the darkness. Would you like to recommend a horror movie? Nate didn't turn around. The laptop behind him flickered back to life. The list had returned. And at the bottom, 10, thought you could escape? Watch Nate's last night. The cursor hovered. Somewhere, miles away, a new message was sent. A new viewer received the link. And the list spread again. Nate didn't turn around. He couldn't.